Hello, welcome. If you come across this question in your first comment JAMB 2025 on vectors, this is how you are going to solve it. Let's go. The first one says, when vectors are added, the result is what? Now, we have the first option as scalar, the second option scalar and zero vector, the third option scalars and vectors, and the fourth option we have what? Vector. Now, in this question, how do we add vector? We add vectors in what? Magnitude and direction. And if you add it in magnitude and direction, it still comes out to be what? A vector. You cannot add vector and it will come out to be a scalar. Do you understand? Because a vector is a quantity that has both magnitude and direction. So if you add two vectors together, it's going to come out to be what? A vector. So the answer to this question is option D. I hope that is clear. The second part, which of the following quantity is a vector? Now we should know that a vector has both magnitude and as well as what? Direction. So let's look at these various options to see the one that is a vector quantity. Option A is energy. The question says, what is energy? Energy is the ability or capacity to do work. So as you are doing the work, you are not moving from one part to another. Okay? So you cannot say that energy is what? Is a vector quantity. Right? Now option B is temperature. Temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of the body. So it doesn't have anything to do with movement. So that cannot be classified as what? A vector. Now what is velocity? Velocity is the rate of change of displacement with time. Now what is displacement? Displacement is distance covered in a specified direction. So because in velocity, distance is being covered with a specified direction, that means it has magnitude and it also have direction. So that means C can be classified as what? As vector. Then the last one is volume. Volume is the product of length times width times height, okay? So it has nothing to do with movement. So we cannot classify volume as what? A vector quantity. So the answer to this question is velocity. Is that clear? So that is option what? C. Two forces whose resultant is 100 Newton are at right angles to each other. If one of them makes an angle of 30 degrees with the resultant, determine its magnitude. Let me do a recap. Two forces, that means we are dealing with two forces whose resultant is 100 Newton are at right angles to each other if one of them makes an angle of 30 degrees with the horizontal, determine its magnitude. Alright, so we are given options here. The first option is 8.66 Newton, the second option is 50.0 Newton, the third option is 57.7 Newton, and the last one is 86.6 Newton. So before we can choose the correct option, let's analyze the question. We said two forces has a resultant of 10 Newton, of 100 Newton, sorry. So I have this. Okay, now this is a resultant of what? 100 Newton, right? Okay, and this is a vector. All right. Now, if one of them makes an angle of 30 degrees with the resultant, so I will choose this because this is a resolution of vectors. Most angles are inclined to the horizontal component. Okay, so what is the magnitude of this vector? That is fx, right? And fx is the horizontal component of this vector and is equals to f cos what? Theta, right? Then going by that, fx is equals to 100 cos 30, right? Now this is equals to 100 cos 30 is going to give us multiplied by 0.866. Okay, so by the time you multiply it, we are going to have that our fx is equals to 86.6 Newton. So this is the horizontal component of this vector. So one of them makes an angle with the resultant 30 degrees and its magnitude now fx is equals to 86.6 Newton. So the correct option in this question is option D. I hope that is clear. A body of mass 4 kg resting on a smooth horizontal plane is simultaneously acted upon by two perpendicular forces, 6 Newton and 8 Newton, calculate the acceleration of the motion. All right, so for us to be able to solve this, we are going to look at one particular thing, two forces, and they are acting perpendicular to each other. Do we understand? That means they are right angle vectors. They are right angle what? Vectors. So we're going to resolve them to get the resultant vector. And if we get the resultant vector, we are now going to use the resultant vector to solve for our acceleration. Now, what am I going to do? I have this. Okay, this is 6 Newton and this is 8 Newton, right? Acting as right angle perpendicular to each other. I'm going to complete it. Okay, to form a resultant. I call this R using Pythagoras theorem. If this is proportional to this is what? 6 Newton. Okay, using Pythagoras theorem, I have R square is equals to F1 square plus F2 what? Square. Okay, now going by that, we have R square is equals to C square, which is the first force, plus A square, right? Then we'll go down by saying R square is equals to 36 plus 64. R square is equals to what? 100. Then the root of 100 is going to give me what? 10 Newton. Now this is the resultant force. We are going to use the resultant force to find the acceleration. Now, knowing that the force, which is resultant force, is equals to mass times what? Acceleration. So what do? We have our force as 10 Newton, then our mass is given as 4 Newton. So let's get the acceleration. That is 10 is equals to 4 times what? A. So what do? Divide both sides by coefficient of A, which is what? 4, right? This cancel this. I'm left with A is equals to 10 over what? 4, of which 2 can cancel to give me what? 2. 2 can cancel to give me what? 5. Okay, so by the time we divide, you are going to get 2.5 meters per second square as the acceleration. Now, from the options, the correct option to this question is option what? A, which is 2.5 meters per second square. A force of 60 Newton is inclined at 30 degrees to the horizontal. What is the vertical component of the force? And we are given A as 30 Newton, B as 40 Newton, C as 60 Newton, and D as 180 Newton. So for us to be able to solve this, we are going to do a sketch. Let's do a sketch to make you understand better. We have this. Okay, now this is a force of what? 60 Newton inclined at 30 degrees to the horizontal. What you're looking for is the vertical component. Okay, then the vertical component of this vector is what? F base what? Y. Is F base Y, and F base Y is equals to F sine theta. Now let's put in what we have. We have the vertical component of this vector. My vector given is 60. 60 sine, my angle is what? 30. Okay, let's work it out. And this is equals to 60 multiplied by sine 30 is 0.5. I have 0.5. So what do we have when you multiply? You are going to get my vertical vector to be what? 30 Newton. I hope that is clear. So looking at the answers given, the correct options is option what? A. A man walks 8 kilometers north and then 5 kilometers in a direction 60 degrees east of north. Find the distance from each starting points. Let's go again. A man walks 8 kilometers north and 5 kilometers in a direction 60 degrees east of north. Find the distance from each starting point. Now, for us to be able to do this, we are going to sketch it, okay, to help us understand better. Now, let's go using the 4 cardinal points. You say this way. Okay. This is north, east, south, and west, right? So the man walks 8 kilometers due north. Due north is on the north straight. That is going straight on the north, and the distance is 8 kilometers. Okay, and then we have 5 kilometers in a direction 60 degrees east of north. Now let's go this way. This is 60 degrees. Okay, then east of north, you're going this way, and the distance is 5 kilometers, right? Now what are we asked to calculate? The distance from each starting point. So from here to each starting point, that's what you're looking for. So let's join it, right? You're looking for the distance x. Is that clear? Now looking at it, if here is 60 degrees, here will be what? 90, because each quadrant is what? 90. Now this is what? A right angle. To make this angle to be what? Angle of what? 120 degrees. So what you are going to do is this. We are going to use cosine rule to solve this. And cosine rule states that what? R square is equals to f1 square plus f2 square minus 2f1 f2 cos theta, right? Now let's put in what we have. We have r square, which is what we are looking for. My f1 is what? 8 square plus 5 square minus 2 times 8 times 5 cos 120. Okay, now r square is equals to, my 8 square is 64 plus my 5 square is 25 minus 2 times 5 times 8 is 40 multiplied by 2, that is 80. Okay, now cos 120. Okay, I hope that is clear. R square is equals to 64 plus 25 is going to give me 89 minus 80. All right, so cos 120 is going to give me minus 0.5. all right, so r square is equals to, now this is 89 minus times minus, that is plus. We have 80 multiplied by 0.5, that is what? That is 40. By the time we add, you have 1, 2, what? 9. Is that clear? Now we say r square is equals to 129. By the time you take the root of both sides, I'll say r is equals to 129, right? So we take the root of both sides to say root of 129. This will cancel to give me what? R. And you know that 11 is a perfect square. Okay, so the root of 121 is equals 11, and we're left with what? 8, right? So the most possible answer in what we have is what? 11.36 kilometers. I hope that is clear. So if you are giving such question in your forthcoming exam, this is how you can be able to solve it. I hope that is clear. If the angles between two vectors P and Q is 0 degrees, the vectors are said to what? Option A, be perpendicular. Option B, be parallel. Option C, intersect at angle 60 degrees. And option D, intersect at angle 45 degrees. Now, you must know something, that if you're resolving a vector, we are resolving to the horizontal component. For example, we have these two vectors. We have vector P and we have vector what? Vector Q, right? Now they are inclined as what? As 0. That means this and this, they are parallel to each other. Is that clear? So once they are inclined as 0, that means vector P is acting this way, vector Q is acting this way, but they are all parallel to each other, right? So the angle between them is what? 0. And at this point, this horizontal, the maximum vector is achieved from this horizontal. Is that clear? The correct option to this question is that they are parallel to what? Each other. I hope that is clear. If this video is able to help someone, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, comment and share, so that other students that are preparing for the forthcoming JAMB can see it and also learn from there. Don't forget to turn on the notification button to get notified each time I post videos. I will see you next time in the next one. Bye for now.